Welcome. Welcome to the third annual SAFE Summit. Thanks you all for coming. This year marks a milestone moment for the organization, the country, and the world. The organization turns 20 years old. The U.S. has new leadership, if you haven't noticed, and the world is becoming increasingly fractured, and other countries are adjusting to uncertainty and changes, some positive and some negative. The United States has reached an inflection point. The foundation of American power, its industrial capacity, technological leadership, and economic resilience have been eroded by decades of offshoring, strategic foreign competition, and short-term policymaking. The result is a country that is increasingly reliant on foreign adversaries for the minerals, technologies, and supply chains that will drive economic growth, energy security, and national defense. Not since World War II has the American consciousness been forced to question its position in the global order. Today, however, the United States is waking up to the fact that it faces profound challenges to its power and influence from peer adversaries. The rise of China as a global economic and military competitor presents one of the most existential challenges the United States has faced in its history. China has rapidly expanded its technological capabilities, modernized its military, and established global economic initiatives that reach beyond its borders. The OPEC cartel's leverage over global oil markets, which SAFE initially focused on when we started in 2004, and still maintains is a concern, is significant, but pales in comparison to China's dominance over the critical minerals and metal markets that will enable the United States and its partners to solve both its economic dependence on oil while modernizing its overall economies. The lack of diversity across critical minerals, producers, and its processing poses new challenges to our defense and civil industrial base. The same minerals used in EV manufacturing and some renewable power generation, for example, are also required for the development of a modernized, resilient grid, the full range of future IT investment, artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, and military technologies. And although these metals and minerals are indispensable to manufacturing critical military equipment, the volume required for the militaries are small relative to the volumes consumed by the civilian economy. In fact, the military, through its contractors, might be the largest purchaser of any mineral or material, but it averages about 5% of demand. For instance, each F-22 Raptor contains 8,600 pounds of aluminum and steel, so across the entire fleet of all our F-22s, it totals 1.6 million pounds of steel and aluminum, which matches the amount used in about 1,000 cars. If it were all aluminum, the equivalent would be only 3,200 cars. Overall, total military aluminum consumption represents just a fraction, around 3% of total United States demand. Ford alone used nearly double that amount to manufacture its F-150s in 2024. This goes for lithium, cobalt, graphite, germanium, molybdenum, gallium, antimony, and the list goes on. While broader U.S. industry certainly faces challenges in developing the supply chains required to ensure that civilian economy has secure and adequate supplies of these materials, the cost of developing parallel supply chains using significantly smaller volumes to meet the military's requirements would be far more expensive than relying on the civilian supply chain. This is why we posit it as critical to support and promote civilian industries that use lots of minerals and materials, including batteries. In addition, if there is ever an active war with China, the industrial base may well reach a breaking point. The United States and its allies would require the ability to replace and build ships, planes, munitions, and countless weapon systems at an unprecedented rate, meaning reliable and secure supplies of small quantities of minerals and materials would become an urgent priority, and even more troubling, we do not have the ability to ramp up production quickly, as we've now seen with our need to rearm during the wars in Ukraine and the multi-front war in Israel, and Europe itself is just beginning the process of rebuilding its military capability. It is widely agreed that World War II was won in large part because of U.S. capacity to supply oil and military equipment to both its military and its allies, while Germany and Japan were unable to keep pace. The erosion of the Allied industrial base is an acute threat today. The United States must respond with a calibrated and coordinated plan. We have to get it right. It is delicate balance. Success will demand a sustained long-term commitment to reshoring production, fostering domestic innovation, developing a skilled workforce capable of driving industrial resurgence, maintaining our political stability and a rule of law so countries are willing to invest, and building a transparent and standards-based economic order so that bad actors cannot use our economic system and free markets against us. We need to deal with the proverbial fox in our henhouse. Our one mechanism is to build Fortress America, but there must be portholes between us and our allies that are living up to the same transparency, rule of law, standards, and free markets. SAFE has had a 20-year commitment to strengthen our economic and national security. SAFE was founded promoting an all-of-the-above energy plan to reduce U.S. dependence on oil from countries that share neither our interests nor our values. We were for all the above or energy dominance before it was cool. The country has become divided, however, on energy. Many Democrats have long been resistant to fossil fuel resources that are undoubtedly critical to the U.S. economy, while many Republicans now attack proven technologies such as renewable energy. The war on energy must end, and the nation must recognize and embrace the valuable contribution that all sources of energy make to the nation. America is blessed with the abundance and the diversity of resources that are the envy of the world. We have abundant oil and gas, land for wind and solar, geothermal, nuclear, and the list goes on. This is a strategic advantage that cannot be wasted. Reliable, resilient, affordable, and yes, increasingly cleaner energy is essential for consumers, industry, and the digital and AI economy. With the advent of a new administration, the United States must take swift and decisive action to reaffirm its primacy and safeguard our national security. Over the last 2 decades, SAFE and our Energy Security Leadership Council's reports, such as the Commanding Heights of Global Transportation and the National Strategy for Energy Security, have documented a shifting geopolitical and technological landscape, identifying strategic vulnerabilities in the economy and proposing pragmatic and nonpartisan policy solutions. This is why we will be releasing a new report in about 2 months called The Pillars of Power, a Strategy for Security and Industrial Resiliency. The latest report builds on our legacy of pragmatism and fact-based analysis, drawing on the expertise of SAFE centers to chart a path forward to revitalize industry and innovate to create new ones. The United States must address key pillars of that power that underpin its security and industrial resilience. We must, 1, expand and secure supplies of minerals and materials necessary to support our manufacturing sector and advanced technologies from the mine through processing to the final products. And 2, ensure we have reliable and affordable energy sources to power our industrial base and our economy. 3, increase our advanced manufacturing capacity with a focus on automotive sector and the defense industrial base. And 4, prepare for a digital and increasingly electrified economy, supported by artificial intelligence and big data, where electrification offers pathways to achieve total energy dominance and enhances our nation's energy security and global competitiveness. The stakes cannot be higher. The United States' position as a global power is not guaranteed. Sustaining it will require a clear understanding how American strength was built and the transformation that we must undertake to be prepared for the remainder of the 21st century. The United States, and now increasingly our allies in Europe, must reinforce its pillars of power by rebuilding its manufacturing and energy sectors, securing supply chains, fostering innovation, and adapting to the realities of a competitive multipolar world. And safe, whether in the United States or in Europe through our European Initiative for Energy Security, or with our partner governments around the world, is perfectly positioned to lead. Through 4 presidents and 5 administrations, we have moved the ball forward. SAFE and our Energy Security Leadership Council of military and business leaders have achieved results. We have great opportunity and challenges in front of us, but in working together, we can succeed. I want to end by thanking the SAFE team for putting on this amazing summit again, the team, Leslie, Bridget, and Jackie, who really did a yeoman's amount of work, our development team, as many of you have heard from over the last month. And I'll take this last opportunity to introduce you to our centers, which I'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow. Each of the centers at SAFE represents one of these pillars, and they're run by incredibly capable executive directors. It allowed me to watch this organization thrive and grow in a way I never could have conceived 20 years ago. I don't know if they're here, but Abigail Hunter, if you are here, stand up for the Center for Critical Mineral Strategy. Joe Quinn, who runs our Strategic Industrial Materials Center. Danielle Russo, who runs our Center for Grid Security. Ben Prohaska, who runs our Electrification Coalition. Avery Ash, who runs our Coalition for Reimagined Mobility. Albrecht Mongrenier, who runs our European Initiative for Energy Security. Please seek them out over the next few days and talk to them about what they're working on, because we would like you to be our partner on this great mission that's so important to the United States. Thank you very much.